Okay, let's have a look at this question. You deposit $500 into an account earning 5% compound interest for 2 years. Find the future value and the interest earned for each of the following compounding frequencies. And round all answers to 2 decimal places if necessary. Enter only positive values for the interest earned. Okay, so the compounding frequencies that are being referred to here are these right here. This one, as it says, annually. And then the next one is semi-annually. And then the next one is quarterly. Next one is monthly. And last of all, this one is daily. Now, if the compounding frequency is annually, all right, then these numbers here, PY and CY, will both be 1. Now, we may need to clarify a little bit about this PY. PY is what? Well, it's the payments. All right, if we scroll back, it says the number of payment periods per year. All right, and CY is the number of compounding periods, okay, right here. Now this one has to do with payment. Okay, now the story is this, that for compound interest, as you can see right here, the PY and CY are the same. Why? Because there's only one deposit. If you look here, it says you deposit $500, all right? You might think that that is a payment, but let me clarify that by looking at this example right here. Now, this is what you will call an annuity, and it says Linda deposits. Now, these deposits are $196 at the end of every month. So that is why this PY right here is 12. Now, the account earns 2.18% compounded quarterly, and that is why this number is 4. So that is the difference. Because there is not continual or periodic deposits, therefore, PY and CY, as you see right over here, have the same value. Okay, so with that in mind, we can proceed with our question. Now, there are numbers that need to be filled into registers, boxes, whatever you might like to say. Now, this is what the calculator looks like. And as you can see the various, you cannot see PY and CY. These are not visible. Why? Because that, if we turn on the calculator, there's a second function right there. And that is why here it's saying to click on second PY to enter these values. N is a value that's computed by multiplying the PY value, which is the same as the CY in this case, by the number of years. In this case, it is right up here. It says 2 years. All right, so there we are. All right, let's take that out of there. Okay, so that is how we will get this N value as being 2. Now let's start. We can start to enter numbers. We will enter these 2 numbers first, PY and CY. Excuse me, please. So we have to use second PY. Second IY. And PY is 1, so we click on 1, we click on enter. And then if you go down, as this is indicating right here, you will see that CY is 1. And with that, we clear, and we're out of there. Now you will see the 1 appear, but that don't be disturbed by it. If you're disturbed by it, then just click on clear once more. So now we have 2 years, so we can go 2, and if you go second N, above N, you see it's multiplied by PY, and what it did was multiply 2 times 1, and if we click on N, N is equal to 2. Now, what is the IY value? The IY value is 5. Okay, as we see right here, the IY value is 5. So to put that number in, we click on 5 and then we click on IY. Now the present value is $500, or this 500 right here. So we go 500 and we click on present value. Now payment is 0 because there are no periodic payments, as was in the case right over here. You see, this had this $196 at the end of every month. But in our case, that is not what is happening. There's nothing happening. So the PY value is indeed 0, and we enter that by clicking on 0 and clicking on PMT. And now we have to compute. So we are down here. We enter the IY, 5 IY, 500 PV, 0 PMT, and then now we're going to compute the future value, and that future value is 551.25. Now you will see this negative value. Why? Because if the present value is positive, then the future value will be negative. And that is a feature of the calculator we cannot change. But when you're entering the answer, you will just enter as it is down here. We'll enter 551.25. Now you can enter negative numbers and it will be all right. Now let's fill in the other boxes. N is 2, IY is 5, and the present value is 500. Payment is 0. And the future value is 551.25. Now to get the interest earned, we take the future value and we subtract the present value. In this case, the future value is 551.25 and the present value is 500. We subtract that and we get 51.25. All right, and that is what happens. Now I will submit just to show you that, just to check that the answers are correct, and when they're correct, you get green check marks. But I would advise you that maybe just the first one you do it, because remember you only have 5 tries, and if you keep clicking, then it uses up your 5 tries. So you may want to fill in all the boxes and then check it at the very end. Now the next part we go to is when it's semi-annually, when the compounding is semi-annually. So PY will be 2 and so will CY. All right, so they're both 2. If you get the calculator up here now, we go to second IY. That is how we enter PY. And that is what it's saying right here, second IY. Then I click on 2 and I click on enter. That's what I just did right here. Okay, and that's the display I get. And now if I click down on that downward arrow right there, then I will get, and I will see that CY is also 2. And now I can just clear. I'm out of that menu. And if you wish to get rid of that 2, you can also clear it out of there. Now remember, N is the number of years. N is the number of years times PY. Okay, if you go back in your handout, which I will post, N is the number of years times PY. So we have to enter the number of years, which in this case is 2. And if we click on second, you see I entered the 2, and I click on second N. So it multiplied 2 times 2, I got 4, but then I must click on N again to get N is equal to 4. So now that number has been entered into the calculator. Now IY is still 5. I can enter it by going 5 IY, and PV is 500, which I go and enter it, 500 present value. I'm entering 0 for the payment, so I go 0 payment, and then I'm computing the future value. Compute the future value 551.91. So if I fill in these boxes, n is 4, correct? Right there, n is 4, iy is 5, it's still 5. The present value is 500. The payment is 0. We're just following these numbers right here. And then down here, if you wish, you could put the negative number in. Let's put in the negative and just to demonstrate that it will mark it correct. And then now, but when you go to do the interest earned, you must use positive values. So we use 551.91, subtract 500, and we will get 51.91. And now if I go and submit, you see that it did mark the negative number correctly. All right, but the interest earned must be positive. Okay, so quarterly now we have 4 times per year. So PY is 4, CY is 4. And we can fill in these boxes with 4 and 4. And then N is what? Well, it's 2 times 4. So let's get the calculator because we have to use it to enter the numbers. So we go second IY, and now IY is, sorry, PY is 4, correct? So we go 4, enter, and then CY is also 4. We click the clear right there, correct? We go and we clear. And like I said, if you don't like seeing that 4 there, you can just clear it out of there. Now we must enter the number of years, which is 2. Then we go second n, and that produces the 8. We multiply 2 times 4, and then we click on n to enter it into the proper box. So if you wish, we can continue and put in the numbers in there. IY is still 5. It didn't change. Okay, so we go and we can enter it, or we could just, if you wish, you can just recall IY to be sure it's 5, or just go on 5 and click IY. And we know that if we come down here, 500 for the present value, 500 present value, 0 for the payment, and then we compute the future value. So we compute the future value, and we get 552.24. So here we complete the quarterly. So this is still 500. The payment is 0. And this here is 552.24. And then we subtract the present value of 500. So the interest earned will be 52.24. All right, so we've done that. Now we'll go to the monthly. Now, monthly, it would be how many times? It'll be 12 times per year. And so PY is 12, and so is CY. Now, we are down here. We go back. We get the calculator up. We go second IY. So second IY. And then PY is 12. We click on 12, and we click on Enter. So PY is 12, then we go hit the arrow going down and we see CY is also 12, and then we can click clear. And if you want, you click it twice and get rid of the 12. So now we have to do multiply 2 times 12. So we go 2, we go second n, and we get the 24 right there. And then we must click on n once more, and that enters n, the n value as 24. We can go now to the IY and we go 5 IY, 500 for the present value, 0 for the payment. And then for the compute the future value, we hit CPT, future value, 552.47. All right, so here we have N was how much? N was 24 right there. So N is 24. IY is still 5. In case you can't see them, that is it. IY is 5. And the present value is still 500. And the payment is still 0. And now we compute the future value on the calculator, and it was 552.47. So this number here is 552.47. And then we subtract the 500, which is the present value, and the answer is 52.47. All right. The last one to do is the daily. Now, daily is 365 times per year. All right. But it's a leap year or not. So we put in for PY 365. We put in for CY 365 also. So we go to the calculator and we do exactly as it says here. We go second IY. So second IY, put in 365 and then click enter. And if we go down right there, CY is also 365. We clear, and like I said, if you wish to get rid of the 365, we clear it once more. Now to get N, we click on 2, and then we click second N, and that gives us 730. 2 times 365, and we click on N once more, and we get N is 730. We enter the 5 for IY. We enter 500 for PV, the present value. We put in 0 for the payment, and then we compute the future value, and that is 552.58, as you see right down there. So N is this number right up here, 730. Okay, IY is still 5. And the present value is still 500. The payment is 0. The future value is now 552.58. And the interest earned is 552.58 minus 500, which gives us 52.58 or 52.58. And now we submit and all is well, everything is correct, and that is the number 1 question.